And Africa lost $18 billion due to the impact of COVID-19. Hello and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The Ethiopian Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy confirms that the country will execute the second filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam as per schedule. The minister, Engineer Seleshi Bekele, on the symposium organized to mark the 10th year anniversary of the commencement of the dam said the filling of the dam will by no means be postponed. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Demek Amakonnen on the occasion asserted that finalizing the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a matter of sovereignty. Emmanuel Durge tells us more.
It has been almost 10 years since Ethiopia embarked on the construction of the much disputed Africa's largest hydropower dam. As the dam reaches 79% of its construction stage, Egypt and Sudan are still raising concerns regarding its construction. Believing in what it is doing, Ethiopia continues to execute the construction of the dam despite external outcries. In a symposium organized to mark the 10th year anniversary of the commencement of the dam, Minister of Water, Irrigation and Energy Seleshi Bekele confirmed that the country will carry out the second filling of the dam as per its own schedule.
The construction of the dam is under a very careful execution and follow-up. The construction stage by its nature demands the second filling of the dam by the coming rainy season. So there is no way that we will postpone the filling. It is technically impossible.
Speaking on the occasion, Deputy Prime Minister Demek Amakonnen for his part asserted that completing the dam is a matter of protecting the country's sovereignty.
Utilizing the Abai River and completing the construction of the dam should be considered as a matter of protecting the country's sovereignty. Ethiopia contributes 86% or 77 billion cubic meters of the Nile water, so no earthly power will deny its right to properly utilize its own river water.
It is stated on the occasion that 79% of the overall construction of the $4.6 billion mega dam has been completed so far. The symposium's objective was to explore the current status of the dam and the ongoing trilateral negotiations between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan.
The Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it has employed personnel to investigate the deaths of Ethiopian migrants in one of the detention centers in Yemen's capital, Sana'a. Kasahun Jani reports.
In an exclusive interview with BBC English, Ethiopia's Foreign Affairs spokesperson and Public Diplomacy Director General Ambassador Dina Mufti confirmed that over 40 Ethiopian migrants who were stranded in Yemen's prison have lost their lives when fire broke out in one of the detention centers in the capital, Sana'a. The ambassador said it was very difficult to pull out the dead bodies of Ethiopian citizens from the blaze.
There was an explosion. There was in the prison in Yemen, where Ethiopian nationals had been affected. There were deaths and serious injuries as well. I think with the cooperation of the Ethiopian communities there and fellow donors, it was very difficult to pull out the dead bodies out of Sana'a. And yesterday, I think those who passed away have been buried. Otherwise, from Aden, the coming Tuesday, Ethiopia is planning to evacuate 175 of them. And definitely with this serious process of evacuations, definitely Ethiopians will get a relief.
The government has deployed staff members of the Ethiopian embassy in Oman, as there was no Ethiopian embassy in Yemen, and is closely working to conduct an investigation into the tragic accident.
Otherwise, from day one, after this incident, the Ethiopian embassy in Oman, as you know, we don't have an embassy in Sana'a. Our embassy in Oman, in Muscat, is the one which is taking care of the situation in Sana'a. Our embassy, under the leadership of the ministry, had been following up the situations there. That situation, that follow-up has continued to date, and all stranded Ethiopians, all affected Ethiopians definitely will get a relief very soon. Otherwise, the ones who passed away had been buried yesterday with the cooperation of the donor agencies and the Ethiopian residing in that part of the country.
The ambassador further warned that Ethiopians should not take audacious decisions to go to Yemen where conflict is rife. It was a pity to have seen Ethiopians taking risks there while the government is trying to repatriate citizens who are languishing with agony in the jaws of foreign countries. Ethiopia's Foreign Affairs spokesperson and Public Diplomacy Director General expressed sorrow and deep regret Wednesday over the deaths.
In a leaked document published by Ethiopian Digest, the leader of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, Debretsion Gebremichael, has hinted that his side was offered a potential opportunity to address the African Union Peace and Security Council on the current situations in Ethiopia. The statement, dated 12th March 2021, was paid as a rebuttal to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's address to the same council on the 9th March 2021. In it, Debretsion says, quote, "We thank you for the opportunity to respond to the address made to your assembly on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, regarding the current situation in Tigray. This comes as more and more evidence accrues of the TPLF's use of former government employees and Western experts in a sophisticated digital campaign aimed at ensuring it evades accountability for its crimes and facilitates a return to mainstream politics in Ethiopia." It appears the statement was co-drafted by Dr. Fiona Mehan, a former employee of the Relief Society of Tigray, and Ms. Gail Warden, formerly an employee of the Ethiopian Embassy in London. The document was then sent for comment to Berhane Gebrekristos, former State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, who is now leading TPLF's operations abroad from the United States. The reveals further evidence of the TPLF operations abroad, where a machinery of foreign experts and loyalists toil on behalf of the group, responsible for well-documented human rights abuses against the Ethiopian people. Going further, it appears these foreign TPLF members, sitting comfortably in London and Dublin, are leading TPLF's external lobbying strategy, thereby ensuring the continuation of the conflict on the ground. The leaked document is further proof that these women and a cohort of other Western experts based abroad are not only on the front line of the TPLF's digital campaign, but also the brains behind the movement. The likes of Debretsion Gebremichael and Berhane Gebrekristos simply place hoarders with empty titles, legitimizing the work of external actors with no stake in Ethiopia's future or accountability to those affected. These leaks, in a time of Black Lives Matter, reveal the story of white saviors feasting on strategy in a distant land as pastime in their taxpayer-funded retirements. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, UNOCHA, says the delivery of humanitarian assistance has been stepped up in the Tigray region, with humanitarian partners reaching 900,000 people with full food baskets, almost 700,000 with water, and 136,000 with shelter. On Friday, the UN announced that humanitarian partners have started using a new email notification system to deploy international staff to Tigray, a change from the system they had when they had to seek permission. Quote, "However, much more remains to be done. Humanitarians urgently needed an estimated of $400 million in additional funding to meet needs in Tigray, the full scope of which is still not yet clear," the statement indicates. Meanwhile, the World Food Programme, WFP, has kicked off its food relief response to reach 770,000 affected people in Tigray. Following Ethiopia's announcement for unfettered access to Tigray, there are now close to 30 international organizations operating in the region, as 70% of the need is met only by the Ethiopian government. The Oromo Liberation Front (OLF) disclosed that it will field candidates to take part in the general parliamentary and regional election slated for early June this year. The party statement comes after the deadline for registration of candidates announced by the National Electoral Board has already expired. The statement was issued following a General Assembly held by a splinter group of the OLF led by Ararso Bikila and Kajala Merdasa. The OLF said it will field candidates in the state of Oromia, provided that the board allows it to do so. The board has not commented on the issue as of this moment. Meanwhile, the General Assembly has elected a new chairperson, replacing Daud Ibsa, who leads the other faction. The Daud-led faction and the Oromo Federalist Congress (OFC) have put forward preconditions to take part in the election, all of which the board said were beyond its mandate. Africa has lost $18 billion due to the impact of COVID-19. The report has been released by Vera Songwe, Commissioner of the Economic Commission for Africa, at the occasion of the 53rd session of the Commission. The Commission is holding its 53rd session in Addis Ababa. Haptamu Ashagri reports.
Over TEDx lectures every time the ministers are meeting, so we welcome you also to the...
As Africa is grappling with the corona pandemic, investment and trade are plunging. Through the death toll and the number of infections are pretty much low than other parts of the world. The impact of the virus in the continent's vulnerable market is immense. Speaking on the 53rd session of the Economic Commission for Africa, Executive Secretary of the Commission, Vera Songwe, said African countries have lost $18 billion due to COVID-19 pandemic.
So the revenue that is needed post-investment, and I think that the continent is still lagging behind on work that aligns investment opportunity and revenue opportunity in a way that ensures that our debt is sustainable going forward. So that's some of the work that we must together do as we build forward better, of course, building on the implementation of the AfCFTA.
According to the Executive Secretary, the COVID-19 pandemic is hampering the expansion of manufacturing and industry sectors in the continent.
Access vaccines, we still need, even though COVAX has 30% of the vaccine, we still need somewhere between $4 to $6 billion to ensure that 60% of Africa is vaccinated and we reach herd immunity and we can open our economy to build forward better.
The Executive Secretary also stresses that the continent is being marginalized in securing vaccines as the wealthy nations hoard doses. The recent ESA report shows over 4 million COVID-19 cases have been registered in the continent from 15 February 2020 to 16 March 2021. Ethiopian Representative Tesfaye Yilma, for his part, said collective efforts are needed to cope with the impact of COVID-19 in the continent.
Africa has made a robust effort under the leadership of the African Union to grapple with this pandemic and to reduce its socio-economic impact. This was done by working together with the global partners and through mobilization of the African public. These efforts have produced commendable results, but Africa is not yet out of the woods. The current access to vaccines could be considered a very good start, but by no means sufficient to make a meaningful impact.
Serious discussions will be conducted on the impact of COVID-19 in Africa during the 53rd conference of the Commission. It was learned.
Ethiopia remains committed to boost up its power supply, looking for alternative sources. Tulumoye geothermal project is one of the ongoing renewable sources of energy in the country, meant to scale up the capacity of the national grid. The project is said to have a great role in technology transfer. Alula Teklamariam has more on this.
Ethiopia is endowed with renewable energy sources, mainly hydro, wind, geothermal, solar, and biomass, among others. However, only a small portion of the potential is harnessed today, regardless of its soaring demand for energy. Aside its mega project to generate huge hydropower from the GERD, Ethiopia has been undertaking additional projects to generate power from geothermal. Tulumoye Geothermal is a joint venture between Meridian and Reykjavik Geothermal RG is working on the first phase of a 50-megawatt geothermal power plant project in Arsi, Tulumoye area. The experts said they have to excavate 10 deep tunnels to meet the intended goal, where 2 of them have been already dug up in 4 months.
Ethiopia is very blessed with the potential of geothermal.
We have been able to drill the first well to the completion.
Tulumoye Geothermal project is led by French, US, and Iceland investors. The project is set to be constructed with a total outlay of $800 million. Upon fully operational, it is expected to generate 150 megawatt electricity.
Somalia started administering COVID-19 vaccines on Tuesday with the inoculation of the health minister, who received the jab publicly to reassure the nation about its safety. Somalia's first vaccinations happened in a small ceremony at the Martini Hospital in the capital Mogadishu, where Health Minister Fauzia Abikar Noor urged the public to embrace the vaccines to stem infections in the country of 15 million people and one of the continent's weakest health systems.
I'm okay, and I hope it will go like this. Well, there are immunization programs going on in all over Somalia. Yes, some areas are not accessible. Our duty is to try to convince people to come and seek these services.
Libya's new unity government has officially taken office. The new team takes over from the 2 warring administrations in the eastern and western regions, thus completing a smooth transition of power after a decade of violent chaos. Members of the new cabinet were sworn in on Monday. Fayez al-Sarraj, who led the outgoing government of National Court in Tripoli, embraced his successor, Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dabib, after handing over power. Now the Dabib's government emerged from talks involving the United Nations and was endorsed by Parliament last week. It is mandated to improve services, unify state institutions, and oversee national elections at the end of the year.
Regarding the President and the members of the Presidential Council, we are here on the first day and we took it upon ourselves, God willing, that we, former Government of National Accord, will not hold on to power. We will move forward with Libya to solve its conflicts and problems. But unfortunately, a reality was imposed upon us, a bitter one, that Libyans have all lived through the war. But once the dialogue led to the emergence of the Government of National Unity, we were adamant from the beginning that we will transfer power immediately after the House of Representatives gave its approval. We hope they will succeed in all their duties.
And finally, an archaeological team has discovered new Christian ruins in remote sites located in desert southwest of Cairo, revealing monastic life in the region in the 5th century AD, as announced by the Egyptian Antiquities Ministry on Saturday. The mission unearthed, quote, several buildings made of basalt, others carved into the bedrock, and some made of mud bricks, the ministry said in a statement. The complex comprises of 6 sectors containing the ruins of 3 churches and monk cells whose walls bear graffiti and symbols with Coptic connotations, said Osama Talat, head of Islamic, Coptic and Jewish antiquities at the ministry. The church walls were decorated with religious inscriptions and biblical passages in Greek, revealing the nature of monastic life in the region, Gika said according to the statement. It clearly showed that monks were present there since the 5th century AD, he said, adding that the discovery helped understand the development of buildings and the formation of the first monastic communities in this region of Egypt. You're watching Addis News Hour. A quick reminder of the day's headlines. Ethiopia recommends second filling of Nile Dam as planned. And Africa lost $18 billion due to the impact of COVID-19. And that's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John. Many thanks for watching. Goodbye.